I still remember the autumn of 2019, when the days shortened just a little too fast, and shadows began to linger longer in the corners of my apartment. I just moved back to my hometown after years away, an inherited flat above the old bookstore on Morrow Street. It was the kind of place where time seemed to settle like dust, thick and unmoving. The wallpaper peeled at the seams, and the radiators coughed more than they heated. But it was quiet, and I needed quiet. The first few weeks were uneventful. I unpacked boxes, reacquainted myself with the rhythms of the town, coffee from Barlow's at 9 a.m., groceries from the corner store where my high school classmates still worked. But even in those mundane routines, I felt displaced, like I was stepping into a version of my life that had been left running in my absence. And now, I was trying to catch up with something invisible yet significant. It started subtly. One morning, I found a coffee mug in the sink that I didn't remember using. It wasn't dirty, just damp. I chalked it up to absent-mindedness. Another time, I returned from a walk to find my desk chair turned slightly, angled toward the window. I always left it facing the door. Again, I dismissed it. Stress, the mind playing tricks. Typical post-move disorientation. But it kept happening. Clothes I hadn't worn were draped over the back of a chair. My toothbrush was wet in the morning before I had used it. A book would be on a different page than where I had left the bookmark. Still, I told myself I was alone, that there was no reason to be afraid. That belief held until the night I saw myself. It was just after 3 a.m. I had gotten up to grab a glass of water. The street outside was silent, save for the occasional rustle of wind through the sycamores. I passed by the hallway mirror, and that was when I noticed it. My reflection didn't move. I stopped mid-step, glass halfway to my lips. In the mirror, I was still standing at the end of the hallway, just watching me. I stared at it for what felt like minutes, heart thudding in my chest. Then, as if nothing had happened, the reflection moved, catching up with my real movements like a delayed video feed. I laughed nervously, some mixture of relief and confusion, and went back to bed. Maybe the mirror was old, warped. That had to be it. But the next day, I couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. The apartment felt too quiet, as if someone were holding their breath just out of sight. Shadows seemed darker, stretched longer than they should have. When I walked through rooms, I had the distinct impression I'd just missed someone stepping out. I began leaving lights on when I slept. Then came the recordings. I had set up an old baby monitor, a relic from a thrift store find, across the living room while going through my boxes, intending to use it for some DIY audio project. One night, I forgot it was still recording. The next morning, it had captured 4 hours of audio, mostly static, the hum of the fridge, the creaking of the building. But at around 2:47 a.m., there was a sound. Footsteps, soft, deliberate. Then breathing, faint, near the microphone. Then a voice. My voice. "You're not supposed to be here." I froze. I played it back over and over, trying to convince myself it was a glitch, an echo, a dream. But there was no mistaking it. The cadence, the inflection. It was me. But I hadn't said those words. I had been asleep. I bought locks, chains, barricaded the bedroom door at night. Every creak in the hallway made my pulse spike. I began recording the apartment every night. Some nights, there was nothing. Others, I would hear shuffling, whispers just beyond the range of comprehension. Once, I heard the bathroom door slam shut at 3:12 a.m., though it was wide open when I checked in the morning. Then, One night, I heard laughter. My own laughter. Slow, measured, as if amused by something I had failed to see. I began staying out later, spending hours at the library or in the back of Barlow's reading old journals by the window. Anything to avoid returning while it was dark. I confided in no one. What could I even say? That I was being haunted by myself. One overcast afternoon, I returned home to find my journal open on the desk. I hadn't left it that way. On the page was a sentence, scrawled in my own handwriting. I remember being you. I left immediately, heart thundering, vision tunneling. I walked without direction, circled blocks, tried to breathe through the cold panic gripping my chest. Eventually, I returned, hands shaking as I unlocked the door. The apartment was quiet, normal. That word had lost all meaning. That night I fell asleep from sheer exhaustion. I woke up to silence. Not the usual kind, but a void. Complete absence of all sound. Not even the distant hum of traffic. I sat up, and in the dim glow of the streetlight filtering through the curtains, I saw the silhouette of a figure standing in the corner near the closet. I reached for the bedside lamp. It wouldn't turn on. The figure moved slightly, shifting its weight. "Why are you still here?" the voice asked. It was mine, but flatter, as if reading from a script. I couldn't see its face, but I knew it was me. Not just similar, exact. Same height, same posture, same voice. "I'm the one who stayed," it said, stepping closer. "You left. I kept things going." I couldn't speak. My throat was dry, like I'd swallowed dust. I tried to move, but my limbs felt like they were dreaming. Slow, unresponsive. "There can't be two," it whispered. I must have blacked out or fallen asleep. I don't remember how the night ended. When I woke, the apartment was empty. Light streamed through the window. Nothing appeared disturbed, but I knew something had changed. I looked different in the mirror. Not physically, more like subtly out of sync. Smiling a half second later than I thought, blinking too often. That day, I went to the police. I told them someone had broken in, impersonated me. They humored me, told me to get some rest, maybe see someone about stress. Maybe I should have. But I know what I saw, what I heard. I moved out within a week, haven't been back since. But the thing is, that presence, that copy, I don't think it stayed behind. Because now, when I pass by mirrors, I get the sense I'm not looking at a reflection anymore. I'm being watched. And sometimes, when I'm alone, I hear my own voice whisper to me, "You don't belong here anymore."